So you're a pole dancer and you want an ab exercise that's actually useful for pole and floor work? I got you. Check this out. So here's what we're going to be working on, but I'm going to break it down in just a second. So this is just a 90-degree pike swivel. And it's great if you have a pole, but you don't need one because you can definitely use this for floor work. Now in the beginning, when you're going to start and do this, you might start with your hip in line with the pole. That's going to give you extra space to work as you pike and swivel. You notice that my arms are out to the side, and whatever direction I'm going in towards the pole, my arm is out to the side 90 degrees, maybe a little bit higher, but the other arm is going to be right next to my hip so that I have tons of pushing power. And as I pike back, right before I start to go all the way back and come back down is when I have my swiveling action. So I'm going to pike, swivel, down, control. Pike, swivel, down, control. Now as you get a little bit stronger, you might start to work up into the side body or maybe closer up towards the armpit, but you don't want to get too high because then it starts to look really funky. But in a pinch, you'll be able to do it. So as we get a little bit closer, we need to roll back a little bit further. We pike, swivel, down. Pike, swivel, down. The further back you go, the more space you hit. But you don't want to go back so far that it looks like you're rolling into a plow. So let's break this down from the beginning. Now we already established that there's going to be some arms depending on what direction you want to go. The hand that is going to be by your side will always be the pushing arm, not pulling, because if your hand is by your side and you try pulling, you can't go anywhere because your arm is in the way. The other hand is going to be out to the side 90 degrees, maybe a little bit higher, but nothing crazy overhead because you're going to lose power. That'll be your pulling arm, and you're going to be pulling your hips 90 degrees towards the hand or maybe more at a later point in time. But let's just slow it down. Let's just work on the whole piking action. So you're going to keep your legs straight, locked out, and you're pointing through the feet. And you're going to think about tucking the pelvis, and that is going to start to lift your legs up. Now, if I tuck my pelvis as much as I can only get my legs perfectly straight. Maybe a little bit less. Depends on your hamstrings and your hips as well, okay? So just the tucking action of the pelvis will lift the legs, yes? But if we continue tucking the pelvis even further, that should start to bring us back into a plow type of shape, okay? So if you can't do a plow, that's okay. We don't actually need it. We don't need to go into a full plow, but we want to roll back onto our upper back, maybe the shoulder blades, but nothing too crazy, okay? And then we're going to control it when we come back down. So both your hands are by your side. Keep the legs straight, locked out, pointing through the feet. Tuck the pelvis, lift, roll back, boom. And you're just going to go back for a second and roll back and down. Okay, so it's almost like a rock and roll, and we're going to have tons of back farts. It's going to be fantastic. Farty, farty, back, fart, fart. We'll be rolling back and forth, okay? Once you start to get that, yes, you're going to have more control, okay? The goal, ideally, would be to have a little bit of a tuck that creates a teeny bit of momentum, but you should also have enough strength and engagement at a later point in time that if you wanted to do it as slow as possible, you wouldn't need your hands at all to bring you back into this floating plow shape. Okay, now I'm going to go towards the front of the room. So my rear hand is next to my hips and my front hand is pointing towards the front or a little bit higher. And we're just going to work on doing 90-degree turns, up, turn, back, down. And you're going to notice that you might be inclined to move in a clockwise fashion, which is cool. But if we're just working on back and forth only, you're going to need to reset the arms so that now as we head back towards the pole, this arm is reaching out to the side, maybe slightly over, and the right arm for me is down by my side. And back, in, out, side. Okay, back, forth, forwards, and down. Okay, back and forth until it's very smooth, and it should just feel like I'm going to go back. Oh, whoops, nope, my bad, coming out. I'm going to try it one more time. Nope, just kidding. And you're adding in a twist each time. And as this progressively gets better and stronger, and you understand when you should be doing this pivoting action on your back, maybe instead of doing 90 degrees, you'll do a 180. And actually the pole was in my way. Let's move back a little further from the pole so when we're doing our 180s, we have tons of space to work with, okay? So hands are out to the side, we pike back, swivel, 180, woo! My back is really sweaty, so I'm sweating really good. Reset the arms to go back the opposite direction, back, up, push, 180s, okay? So this is gonna be your homework. It's really easy. It's just a pike swivel. Start with 90-degree turns. Maybe you're going back and forth. Maybe you're gonna do 90 degrees clockwise and then counterclockwise so that you do a 360 in 4 parts. And then as you get better, maybe you'll start to do 180s. And then maybe you'll start adding in some obstacles here like a pole. Will you start at the hip so that you have lots of space to work with as you go up and over? Or will you be a little bit lower so as you pike swivel? If you happen to be a little bit lower in the pole and you're really tight and you're like, damn, I need to be on the other side because that's part of my choreography. What do? I tuck the pelvis, I make it look cute. I look to the front and I'm like, hey, boom, ha, boom, ooh, overhead shot here, boom, shalak, laka, Boom. Okay. Thank you. See you in another video.